morning. Welcome, everyone. This is Roxanne Harris here, the Audacious Wellness Warrior. And joining me for today's fabulous broadcast, and I already see the people jumping on. We're going to have such a great show, but we have Robin Carr, Jeannie McMurray, and our special guest, Sherry Werner, who is a certified personal trainer and the owner of Sherry's Transformational Gym. And we are going to talk all about transformation this morning. So excited to join you. And of course, I have to show you my beautiful mug. So make sure you have your cup of tea or coffee or water. But my love story begins today. And how we're going to start this show is most women work out because they hate their body, not because they love it. And so I just invite all of you to join with me. Just say it, put it in the chat. My love story starts today. And we're going to talk about loving our bodies because, Sherry, you are a certified personal trainer. You work with women all the time to transform their body, but not just physically. Can I add that part of what you do is helping them transform mentally, emotionally, as well as spiritually? So, Sherry, just tell us a little bit about why do you do what you do and why do you help women transform their bodies?
Yeah, thank you, Roxanne. It's an honor to be on this program with you today. And I can't wait to share my story because I think the story will take you down my journey of why I am here. And hello to all the guests as well. So I am 61 and at 50, let me back up 10 years. At 50, I started noticing some decline just in my overall health. Now I never struggled with weight. All of my growing up years, through 2 children, in my 30s, in my 40s, it never was an issue for me. That's not to say that I didn't go on crash diets like probably we all did, which I'm going to talk about in the program as well, about what that does to our bodies later on. But something happened to me when I turned 53. I'm going to call that hormonal. I'm going to call that, I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden I had a lot of body fat. And it wasn't necessarily anything that I was doing differently than I was doing before. And I'm going to say it came on with a vengeance. I mean, I'm 5'1", I'm not very tall, and it was everywhere. So me, like most women, we say, I'm going to join the gym because we think that's the answer. So that's what I did. At 53, joined a gym. I knew how to walk on the treadmill. I did not know how to do anything else in the gym. So I go and I get on the treadmill for 2 weeks. And then I say to myself, I'm never coming back here again. I can't do this. This is the most boringest thing I've ever done. And I don't see any benefit.
I have to just jump in there and say, when I had my hips replaced and I was supposed to walk every day, it was like, oh my gosh, that's going to kill me. That is so boring. And then I got a treadmill because it's so icy here in the winter. We get all the rain and the freezing rain. And I was like, what am I going to do? Mm-hmm. Like, it is so boring. So I hear you, girlfriend. Yep.
And I'm like, I can't do this. This is not going to work for me. And I guess maybe it was a humbling experience. I mean, I'm in this gym and I see all these people who I was intimidated, for lack of a better word. People know how to use the gym. They're using free weights, and I said to myself, you need some help. You're going to need to be humble yourself and you're going to need to ask for help. Well, it's not that I asked for help. I hired a trainer, someone to teach me what to do. And so this girl's 25. Okay. So she taught me how to work out, but she couldn't teach my body what to do. And she didn't. And I feel like she didn't have the knowledge. You're not 50. You don't know what happens to your body from your age 25. At 25, I could get it off too. Yes. I could go on a crash diet for 5 days and lose 10 pounds and be great. That's what we thought weight loss was about.
Yeah.
Really, at 53, it wasn't about weight loss. It was about how to burn body fat. How do I get this off? So I became strong and bulky because the muscle was underneath the fat layer. That's not the look I'm looking for. That's almost what I call sumo wrestler. Okay, so that's not pretty and that's not feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's,
Yep.
I mean, I'm like, I looked beefy. I just looked beefy. I look like a man wrestler. That's how I can describe what I look like. And I'm like, okay, this is not gonna work. This part is not the answer. But I didn't gain the answer to another 2 or 3 years. So I got really strong. And she was very helpful. She would say, well, how's your diet? Well, if you don't know what a diet and nutrition program really looks like, you'll just say it's okay. And you
Yes.
could go home and eat Doritos and you would still think, oh, that's okay. I'm doing good. I'm working out, but the body doesn't transition.
Yes.
It won't transition to what you're after if you don't feed it the right nutrition. So
Mm-hmm.
that was a crash course.
Yeah.
And so along the way, I was in the gym for about 4 years. I looked around at the women that were coming in the gym because during this time frame, I learned what to do. They would come in and I would see myself in them. They would come in, they would be lifting really heavy weights. I could see them working out. And at our age, I mean, there are other issues that come with working out. There's some joint issues. There's some painful things that you can't lift heavy weights. And if you do, you're going to have an issue with, longevity in your life.
Yeah.
And so I watched them come in and I said to myself, I think I can do this. I think I can teach women my process. I think that I can share with them what I went through on my journey to get to where I am. So my husband and I have a barn. We raise goats. Our kids were in 4-H. We raise our own beef. We have our own chickens, have our own eggs. And so we're kind
Yes.
of, living our life at home and growing our own food and, doing
Yeah.
all the necessary things that we like to do in today's world. So we took that barn and we made it into a gym. And I asked 6 women to come and train with me for 6 weeks. And I did it for free. I invited them to come. Let me show you what I know. Let me teach you what I know. Let's see what happens. And from there, the gym just started happening and I was able to start transforming, not just helping you lose body weight, because that's not the truth.
Yes.
So that's where my journey really in the gym starts. I did it. So sometimes when you do it,
Exactly.
at 53, there's something is happening inside the body that doesn't happen at 40
Yeah.
or at 30. And one of the biggest things is the metabolism. What do I do with my metabolism and why is it important? What do I need that for?
Exactly.
And
Yeah. So, I mean, I love this. There's so many jumping off places right now. So I want to go back because you mentioned a couple of really interesting things. You mentioned the word crash diets like twice. And this is something because, we do have some listeners that are 20 something and 30 something. So that crash diet that, starve myself for a week, get that weight off seems like a good idea. But you did mention that it's not good long term, right? And so something happens to our body when we do the crash diet. So maybe chat a little bit about that, because still women at our age, 40, 50, 60 years old, are trying to do crash diets, thinking that that's how they're going to get rid of that, 5 or 10 pounds to get ready for the wedding on the weekend. And that is not true.
it's not true. So I didn't know about the body's metabolism, and it seemed easy to do in my 20s and my 30s to just do that, to crash it. But at that time, you still have some muscle mass in your body. Muscle mass is something that helps boost your body's metabolism, but the crash diet sabotage it, and they sabotage it later in life. Not necessarily while you're doing it, but when you get to be 40 and 50, it becomes increasingly more difficult to get it off. You can't get it off in 5-10 days anymore. And if you do, you're just losing mostly water weight, but you're not losing the body fat. So it's not going to transition. You're losing your muscle mass when you get to that age.
And I'm glad that you said that, because I think I would like our listeners to redefine crash diet so that it doesn't mean, crash this weight off. Literally, you're crashing your body with a crash diet. You're crashing your metabolism and you're losing muscle. And when you lose muscle, your metabolism dials back even more, right? And so it gets harder and harder, not only to have the metabolism to feel good, be full of vitality and energy, right? But also to function, right? We need that muscle to burn the fat. And so that's really amazing. So Jeannie and Robin, how many crash diets have you been on in your lifetime? Estimate.
Too many to count. For real. No, for real, where you don't eat for 30 days and you're doing lemon and honey water and you're just in cayenne pepper and different things. So yeah, way too many to count. Absolutely. And I think that also stems from like the adrenal fatigue comes in later because of that too.
Exactly. And Robin, what about you? Crash diets? Well, no, because you're like Sherry.
Not too many, to be honest, but I did go on some keto diets and things like that, but not where I'm starving myself or anything. I did try intermittent fasting, and one time I think I tried a 3 or 4 or 5 day fast. I can't remember, but that was more for health reasons. That wasn't necessarily to lose weight. That was when I was dealing with all my throat issues and whatever. I was trying to reset my body to get all the medication and stuff out so that I could move forward clean and introduce, more natural ways of healing myself. So,
yeah. I think, Jeannie, you piggybacked on this whole adrenal issue. So women are not very good at being, I'll say a traditional woman, the way that, maybe God created us to be. So God did not create women to have a full-time job and a part-time gig, to be a full-time mom, full-time house cleaner, full-time, chef, laundry, plus, PTA and worship team and everything else. Like, women are really involved in so many things that there are not enough hours in the day to complete it. So what we see happening chronically with women as we age, because part of what happens is as we age, right, we generally get married, we start having kids, there's the career expanse, whatever. So we add to our plate of stuff, but God gave everyone the same number of seconds in every single day. Right. But what we do is we go to our full-time job and we come home to a full-time job. Right. And no one else is picking up that slack. And we start burning the candle at both ends. We're getting up late. We're going to bed late. We're hardly sleeping, maybe getting 3 or 4 hours of sleep. We're using stimulants, coffees, for example, to try and get the energy, which sabotages our thyroid. Right. And then we're doing all kinds of yo-yo diets, thinking that the problem is if I just lose 5 pounds, I'm going to feel better. And we enter into adrenal fatigue, which is a nightmare to get out of, because at that point, your blood sugars are destabilized, right? You can't fix your adrenals without fixing your blood sugars. You can't fix your blood sugars without fixing your adrenals. But what are we all doing? We're doing crash diets, and we're not eating protein, and we're not eating the fat. And so it just further compounds the problem. And so, Sherry, you said, I want to, transform women by teaching them how to burn body fat. This lady, Sherry, said this. She said, and this is true on any diet or weight loss plan, that first 5 to 10 pounds that you lose is water. You're losing no fat. But most of these weight loss programs or crash diets, not only are you not losing fat, but you're losing muscle, which makes it harder to burn those calories. And if you're drinking all your calories, you're not having those calories for your food. So Sherry and Robin and Jeannie, maybe we can look at, what does it mean to shave off inches and get rid of cellulite? Because this is what women are looking at. They put on their bikini, it's too tight, so they're like, wow, I need to lose like 10 or 15 pounds. Then they look at the cottage cheese on their thighs, and then they have, a mental breakdown and they start crying, and then they go to the starvation crash diet thinking that's what's going to fix the problem. So let's have some robust conversation on this topic, burning body fat.
Yeah, so it's a never-ending cycle, and in that type of diet program, or and this is what happens. So let's say the exact scenario you described. I'm putting on my bikini. I look at myself, and I'm, for women, we say, "Oh my gosh, how did I get here?"
Mm-hmm.
And so you go on this crash diet. You lose your muscle. You're going to lose some muscle mass by not eating, because we have to feed muscle mass to help us. But let's go down this path first, and then we'll back up. So you're going to lose some muscle mass. You may get off 5 or 10 pounds. And as soon as you eat, and typically you're not eating the right food. That's why you're in the position that you're in.
Yep.
And you further exacerbate your problem, because you're putting on more body fat.
Yep.
So when people say, I lost 15 or 20 pounds, for example, and I put it all back on, and I put it all back on plus some.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like you put 20 pounds plus, because you're putting on body fat. It's all body fat. Unless you're eating specific foods that target the body's metabolism and the muscle mass, it comes back as body fat, particularly if you're not paying attention to the right food.
Well, and as women age, so over the age of 40, and it could be 45 for some women, it could be 51 for others, as you're entering into that premenopausal state, your body has been pre-programmed to gain weight. Mm-hmm. In fact, your body has been pre-programmed to gain cellulite, because your body stores estrogen in cellulite. You get the estrogen stored so that you have fantastic, 40, 50, 60 years more, right? And so women, like, psychologically, this messes them up. But what we want to talk about is we need fat. Avoiding eating the fat is not good, right? Women, you need fat. And if you're not eating fat, you're getting fatter. Yeah. I mean, I can't even, be more blunt than that. But let's look at the good fats. You said, Sherry, you've got to eat the right foods. Women, your metabolism after 40 is slowing down. You're not eating the fat. You're not eating the protein. You're eating a little bit of lettuce. You're thinking that that's going to solve your problem, and it's magnifying it and making it worse.
100% magnifying and making it worse. We sabotage our own metabolism because we really don't know what it takes to boost it. And by not, I'm going to go here first, even starving, or 900. I had a lady that came to me that was eating 900 calories a day, and I'm like, you're starving. You're not eating. You there's no way you can boost your body's metabolism to help you, because you're not eating enough food. And number one, you're not eating enough right food. But we think by less we'll gain we'll gain what we want, and we further sabotage it. So now your metabolism can't help you, because you're in fact lowering it. As we age, just like you said, Roxanne, generally it lowers itself. So we want to boost it. What are some foods that help us boost our metabolism? And muscle mass helps us boost metabolism. So we need two things working for us. And, our brain is full of fat. We need healthy fats in our brains. Remember when low fat was the deal? That was terrible diet. That was the absolute wrong information.
Yes.
Because we had fake sugars and fake sweeteners. I call them fake, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All added to our foods for taste when we really needed the fat. Yeah. We need, healthy olive oils or avocado oils. I try to stay away from a lot of seed oils. I don't necessarily think that they're the answer.
Yep.
I use Irish Kerrygold butter. I try to stay with the healthy fat side of butter. You get fats from almonds, from pecans. I actually grew up in South Georgia, and one of my jobs in the summer after I was out of school was to go up to the pecan orchard and pick a 5-gallon bucket of pecans during pecan season.
Wow.
So I am a pecan lover. They're a great source of fat for the body.
Yeah.
Are you laughing because I'm a Southern girl?
Pecans, man, pecans.
It's pecans in the South.
And so, Robin, you did a really cool keto food plan for a while, and lots of fat incorporation there. So maybe talk, because some of the ladies are thinking, if you think I'm eating butter and olive oil and coconut oil, you can think again, right? Because I'm not eating fats, just like what we've been talking about. They don't eat the fats because they think the fat is making them fat, not realizing that eating the fats is what actually helps your brain to function, your eyes to function, your muscles, your body, and for your metabolism to function. So what happened when you started eating the fats, and what are some of your favorite fats to incorporate?
Well, yeah, it's a big difference. It's the total mind shift of what they've been telling us, you know, as Sherry has mentioned multiple times about the low fat diets, and it's a fad. They change their minds about our health, like the eggs, and eggs are good, eggs are bad all the time. And everything that you see is in the store for weight loss is, you know, full of sweeteners and like the artificial sweeteners, and low calorie and low fat. And during my journey, listening to a lot of doctors speak on the keto diet, they said, if anything says low fat, stay away from it. You do not want to put that into your body. But yeah, a significant, even with the glow and hair and nails and everything, like everything is affected by your diet. And I saw a massive improvement through that. But there, like we mentioned in previous shows, there's like the dirty keto, and then there's the clean keto. And yes, the dirty keto does work as far as weight loss goes, but you're not doing your body really any favors. The processed meats, that kind of stuff. And also for eating nuts, if you only eat a few, you only need a few. Like why people overeat nuts is because most people buy the salted nuts, and the salt makes you crave more and eat more. So if you just stay with the natural oils and eat them that way, you'll find that you're fuller faster, and you don't need as many to make you feel full. It's the salt and the little bit of the sugar that they put into these mixed nut kind of containers or bags or whatever that we're craving because we like the taste of the sweet or the salty, right? So my favorites obviously are you know, a little bit of butter. Just you don't need much. Like people are thinking like you need to eat a brick of butter. Well, that's not true. It's all proportionate. And but avocados, almonds, you know, pistachios are good, walnuts, pecans, those are kind of my go-to nuts. And like I said, you have to be careful with your nuts because it's very easy to go over your fat content with them and overeat. But yeah, and whipping cream is another one that I have an issue with. I usually put that in my coffee. Some people on keto will do like the bulletproof coffee where they add the butter and the cream into it. I tried it. I'm not really a fan, but it is a way to increase your fat, I guess, or fat bombs. But now you got to really watch because these dairy farmers or the government, whoever's regulating this, is now adding different things into the whipping cream now. So it's not as pure and natural. I don't know how it is in the States, but in Canada, I saw a little blurb on it and I started flipping my whipping cream around, and sure enough, they're adding all kinds of things to make it more shelf stable, but it's not good for our bodies either. So to try and get into the more natural products and stuff is becoming increasingly hard because they want to keep adding all these additives and preservatives and whatever into our foods. So
well, and I might say too, like with the artificial sweeteners, we see this in a lot of packaged keto. Ladies, make your own food. But in the packaged keto, we're seeing a lot of artificial sweeteners, which sabotage your blood sugars and destroy your gut. And so this is not where we want to be, you know, from that sugar point of view. Pure maple syrup, right? A little tiny bit of raw honey. Use a date, but you going to the the artificial sugars is going to create an even greater problem for you in the long run. I mean, aspartame is rat poison. Terrible. And so, you know, if I literally gave you a bowl of jelly beans and said there's 25 jelly beans in this bowl, but only one jelly bean has, you know, 1 grain of rat poison, which jelly bean will you eat? You're going to be like, well, none, right?
Yeah, none.
So when we have even the excuse, well, I chew gum that has aspartame, and people say to me, well, but it's just a little bit. Here's a little bit of rat poison. What do you mean a little bit, right? And so it has a cumulative effect in the body. It never leaves the body. It's pickling your internal organs, further sabotaging your metabolism. Mm-hmm. So, and I want to get into the fitness stuff, but Jeannie, you are a keto expert. So you're trained in this, you understand, this. So what can you share with everyone? Because what Sherry's going to bring next with the whole fitness component to it, like we really have to understand the diet, because if you can go and work out all you want, but if your food is not on point and you're not getting the fat and the protein, it's going to do nothing. And so, Jeannie, there's this marrying between, fitness, but also your lifestyle and what you're eating in order to get optimum results. So what can you add to the whole, fat conversation?
Well, I am one that back in the day in my 20s when I taught aerobics, I used to teach fat-free. I used to teach 500 calories. I used to teach people what to eat that was fat-free. So, and me, aspartame and diet sodas, I loved that stuff. So yeah, I'm one big pickle. But anyway, I started getting cellulite, especially once I had my son. So I was always heavy, up, down, roller coaster rides and stuff. But I started to pack on the cellulite. So how to shrink the fat, the keto is the way to go. My friend Naomi got me on it, and she said, no, like I know it's going to mess with your brain, but you have to eat good, healthy fats. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was the worst thing ever to eat real butter. I thought it was the worst thing ever to eat macadamia nuts. Like who would ever eat pecans? No way. Like that is only when we make the pie. Like you don't eat that stuff, and certain real mayonnaise and the yolks in the egg. But it is true. Like my friend, taught me how to eat keto. And then I became a ketogenic coach because at the age of 40 and above, these crash diets and 500 HCG diets, everything else, it does not work. And if it works for a short time, but it's water weight. And then you just fluff it back up again. It's so true. And cellulite, it is that stagnation. I mean, I got rid of most of my cellulite and sagging skin from Kona Kiss and the cupping, and then adding the keto, it totally helped just rebalance. And now with our glutathione as well, just magnifies this, which is amazing. But yes, it's a must. You have to I have an app, which when I follow the app and I write down what I eat in there, it does show me, yes, you did consume the right fats, you did consume the right proteins and the right carbs. If I don't write it down, I don't lose the weight. And I haven't been lately, but I won't lose it. I don't need enough.
Yeah. So Jeannie, we are having ladies asking, what is the name of the app that you use?
Oh, it's called Keto, and it's blue, and it is it's just called Keto Diet.
Okay.
Maybe hold it up and show
that. Let me see if
whatever the icon looks like. Which one is it?
Blue. Let me take a picture. I'm going to take a picture and blow it up. Perfect. Because then this way, then we'll do it. But I love it because I get to write down everything that I eat. You can even program your favorite stuff. So if you make a protein shake or something like that, you can actually plug it in. So then you know that you just consumed 20 grams of, I don't know if that's.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Keto diet.
Perfect.
I love it. Love it. Love it. And it's true. Like what Robin said, don't eat dirty keto. If you're eating a bunch of processed salami and stuff like that, I mean, just think of your arteries, think of everything. But Kerrygold butter, I didn't even know how good butter really tasted. Or real eggs, farm fresh eggs are the best, you guys, because they are, just like Robin was saying, they're putting stuff in your heavy whipping cream. And they're also in your eggs to preserve them.
Yeah. Yeah. And so Sherry, you actually have a formula for protein. So there's a certain amount of protein that women should eat. We know drinking half your body weight in water, but what's the magic with the protein?
So we're gonna go a little higher than what this formula says, as you know, we're trying to build our muscle mass or feed our muscle mass, and it's half your body weight times 2.2 will give you the grams of protein that you should intake. Okay. So half your body weight times 2.2.
Is that the same as the your body times 0.7?
Yeah.
Is that the same way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let's look at that. Let's be really like awesome and sweet and say that we weigh 120 pounds.
Wait.
That means we need 84 grams of protein. But here's the thing, it's not how much it weighs, right? So if you take that chicken breast and you put it on the scale and you weigh 100 grams, that chicken breast is only 30 grams of protein. It's not 100 grams of protein.
Right.
Most women actually don't eat enough protein.
They don't.
And this is part of the problem with stabilizing blood sugars and weight loss. They're not feeding their muscles.
They're not. Even in America, our USD or our FDA does not recommend enough protein even for the elderly. I mean, it's minimum. It's not enough to sustain them. That's why a lot of elderly people are fatigued and tired, and basically they're hungry and they don't know it. They're starving.
Yeah, protein number one first.
Yeah,
comes first.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, I just times because I was going by 0.7 times my body.
Go ahead.
Weight. And that's 126 grams of protein, which I don't even consume that a day. But if I times it by half of my body weight, so let's say 90, so I'm about 180. So 90 times 2.2, that's 198.
Oh yeah,
so
no, that's not right.
126 grams of protein, I need 198.
No, I'm sorry, that's not right. Where is my? That's not right, Jeannie.
Okay, good. So let's go back to the times
0.7.
Body weight times
0.7. Yeah.
Because I'm not even consuming my 126 grams that I should be consuming. And then, of course, readjust it when you lower your body weight, of course.
Yes, as we go through.
Yeah. So what are then, because now women are freaking out going, what do you mean the chicken breast is 30 grams of protein and I need to consume 90 or 100 or 120 grams of protein? So how can we get this protein? What are some of everybody's, favorite sources of protein, what they like to eat, and how do you incorporate that? Because, remember, we're talking to women that are eating one meal a day, or they're having a coffee and then they're not having anything till supper, and then they're binge eating on Doritos or cookies or whatever all night long, right? And so let's talk about how do we incorporate this protein?
A protein shake is good if you're getting, the right type of protein for your body. And in my protein shakes, I mean, I like chocolate protein shakes just to have after I work out. And I'm putting just a couple of strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, any of those type of low glycemic index fruit into the shake to give it flavor. That's 20 grams of protein.
Yeah.
And it's good.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily put a banana in there because it's a high glycemic index, and pair it with a protein, but it gets really complicated. A great nut butter, a tablespoon of a nut butter, and really a good nut butter, not just, a cheap brand. It gives a great source of protein and fat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's talk about this protein smoothie. Let's talk about that first, because almost every woman that I coach or comes into my clinic, they tell me about the smoothie that they make, their protein smoothie. They've got their scoop of powder, they've got their yogurt or their cream, they've got their banana, they've got their, berries, they're throwing in their spinach. So they're taking something that is really supposed to be a quick recovery fuel post-workout from maybe 100 calories, and you're turning that into like a 500 calorie snack.
Yeah.
And you're dumping your blood sugars off the charts. And so, that's a great question, Brenda. So what type of protein works best for women?
Jeannie, I think
well, I like the whey protein. I use my doTERRA shake that has it. I avoid everything with soy in it. I try to avoid soy protein as much as possible because a lot of my buddies with breast cancer and stuff, their doctor has told them to avoid soy. So I try to stay away from soy as much as possible. And then also, I know to try to stay away from sweeteners. Pure Monk does not usually seem to raise up or lower blood sugar. So I do like that. And I like what Sherry said too, also with the berries, to pick strawberries, blueberries. Those are ideal to actually have. And I like mine chocolate too. I put cocoa powder in my shake too. But I'll add, coconut cream to mine or some coconut powder, just because, you know, I'm not consuming enough calories or protein during the day, but that's my favorite one.
Yeah. And I think, you know, a lot of women are looking at non-animal source proteins. I don't recommend that. A lot of the vegan type have pea protein. Peas are a pulse food. They're a legume. They're highly inflammatory. They can cause a lot of gastrointestinal issues. And if you look at, you know, scoop of protein powder that's all pea based or all soy based, it's also in the legume family. You're not going to, you know how many peas that takes to make that? If you sat there and ate those, you know, 3 or 4 cups of peas, you're going to have a lot of GI issues. And so really avoiding that. Go for, like Jeannie said, the whey, but also there's now collagen protein powders. And the collagen protein powder is even exponentially better because you're getting that clean collagen source to help lubricate your joints, help with healthy skin, muscles, ligaments. And so, yes, they're a little bit more expensive, but, you know, can I say, ladies, that you pay for what you get.
And get organic. Because they make a lot of the collagen protein powders with chicken and different things, but it's full of lots of chemicals and pesticide chemicals. So make it organic as well.
So it's always about, you know, your good sourcing. And like you said, Jeannie, doTERRA actually has a pretty good protein shake, so you can grab that. But do your due diligence, right? When you walk into that health food store and you ask for a protein shake, tell them you want a clean protein shake.
And I do need to start adding the collagen back into my, I used to use Dr. Axe's protein back in the day when we didn't even have the protein, and they had a good organic collagen one that was good.
Yeah. So I really love that. So let's look at, you know, the best way to shave off these inches. So, you know, we've been talking about, you know, the water, what we're eating in our diet, the lack of fat, lack of protein, ladies, lack of sleep. Did you know that an adult still requires 7 to 9 hours of sleep every single day? So, you know, if you're doing all the stuff and you're not really losing any weight, could it be you're not sleeping? That is a huge one. But
wait, before we talk about sleep, can we talk about more of the meats and stuff, like what we eat, like, you know, the bison, the organic beef, the steaks, that kind of stuff? Like what other, like, because you know, dieting was usually a shake or starve yourself, 500 calories. So like really eating protein, salmon, you know, good foods like for your body type. Like I know for me, if I eat chicken, I don't lose the weight. But if I eat a steak or, you know, bison or something, then I'll shrink. So
I think that's important, Jeannie, because it is according to your blood type. So sorry, ladies, you can't escape that. If you are an A blood type, you are mostly a vegetarian. And I use that word specifically because most people who call themselves vegetarians are grainitarians. They eat grains and very little vegetables. Grains are not vegetables. They are not healthy. They slow down our metabolism. Like they cause gut issues, brain issues. But when we look at that, even as an A blood type, you still need proteins. Your proteins are going to look different. Like fish, a little bit of turkey, a little bit of chicken. Really, the red meat makes you feel like garbage. And so it's not to be eaten a lot. But we also have eggs as a wonderful protein food. Did you know that quinoa is not a grain, it's a seed, and it's a great protein. Papaya is a great protein. Then you have your legume family if you don't have an autoimmune that limits you from taking those foods. But then conversely, let's say we have an O blood type. O blood types actually need red meat to feel good. Now, this doesn't mean you're eating red meat all the time. You could eat it twice a month, really. But if you don't have the red meat, you will feel horrible. You will feel drained. You will feel fatigued. And so that must be part of it. And what's become very culturally or, you know, socially acceptable is a lot of chicken. Well, O blood types do not feel good on chicken. They feel horrible on chicken, right? And what is everybody eating? Chicken 7 days a week, right? Plus with their lunchtime salad or whatever else. B blood types do very, very well with red meat. They do not do well with salmon or chicken. And what do we eat? Salmon and chicken. Right? And then we've got these unusual blood types, ABs. And what's unusual about an AB blood type is that you actually fluctuate between an A and a B. And what is interesting is that for about 3 months, you eat a certain way, and then you're like, wow, this food is making me not feel good. And very naturally, you instinctively change your diet and start either eating more as an A or a B. And people that are ABs know this. They do really well on foods for a while, and then they don't feel good, and they just kind of shift how they're eating. It's really just a fantastic guideline. But yes, you can look for alternate proteins. And Juliet, for your comment about getting red protein in other ways, as an O blood type, unfortunately, you need red meat. And so even if you are a vegetarian, right, I would just say, once a month, you have to take your medicine and go out somewhere that does a nice steak or a nice hamburger. And that's just your medicine. You're still a vegetarian, right? And I've done this with my clients for a very long time, and they love it because they can still maintain whatever ethical, considerations that they have. And then, Scott, thanks for joining us. We've got a man on a program today. The A blood type diet is really a vegetarian. It's a vegetable-based diet, right? Fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, very light proteins. Technically, A's do well with grains, but we do not do well with today's grains because today's grains are compromised. They've got a very complicated genetic structure, way more chromosomes than what our body can digest. And if you're not eating organic, you're also eating the Roundup, which creates a secondary issue. Yeah. And perfect, Juliet. That's a wonderful way to think about it, eating grass fed, when you feel like it. And so there's lots of protein sources, chia seed puddings. My goodness, this is a great fat source, a great protein source. You can use that as a breakfast with some berries or mixing in pumpkin or other things to make any flavor in the world. So really love those sources as well. But, look for what makes you feel good. And I do want to point this out because it's not just, am I losing weight? A sensitivity to a food can be brain fog. It can be just fatigue, sluggishness, a loss of energy, cramping, gastrointestinal, mental emotional shifts where you feel like you're just like losing it or going crazy can actually be a sensitivity to a food. And so, we want to pay attention for those reactions in our body as well.
Just to interject quickly, people that are asking questions, there's a really good book out, Eating for Your Blood Type. And it has a wealth of information in it. And even if you Google it, it'll still come up with the list of what is the ideal food for you as according to your blood type.
Yeah.
And you'll be surprised what's on there and not on there. So like even for A blood types, you're not supposed to be eating tomatoes. So
tomatoes or cantaloupe or melon family at all, right? It's called Eat Right for Your Blood Type. Dr. Peter Dinamo. Do not buy into Laura Power's revised version of that. Looking at the blood, I can tell you that she's way off on how she's interpreted the data. It just doesn't translate. And so that's really cool. Yes, Cindy, it's the book by Dr. Peter Dinamo, and Eating for Your Blood Type. I mean, you can't overrule it. You can't get away from your blood type. You have to follow it. An A blood type that eats a lot of red meat does not feel well. And I can vouch for that. We got a side of organic beef a few years ago. Our whole family, my husband, three of our kids are all A's. Except for one O that we have. And we're eating red meat every day. And we all felt horrible, right? Just because you can't overcome it. The difference with Rh negative blood is not really that much. There might be a couple of things that are altered with it, but knowing what blood type you are, AB, O or AB. And if you're from some of the European countries that have it, like type 2 blood, type whatever, that's very easy. You just Google that and it's going to give you, it's not, you don't have different blood types. Everyone in the world has the same. They just label it as being different. So let's talk about shaving off these inches, because I know, Sherry, you've done it, Jeannie, you've done it, Robin, you've done it, and people are like, wow, how is it that that lying scale that's just measuring mass, not water, not weight, like it's, you know, fat, muscle, it's just mass. The lying scale says I've lost 6 pounds, but I've literally lost 18 inches off my body. So let's have that conversation and why that happens.
I can tell you what I experienced personally, and then what I tried to help the clients in my gym experience. So remember, we're looking for fat loss and not weight loss. They weigh the same, but a pound of fat, which is squishy and without form, takes up a lot of space. If you can think of a softball as a pound of fat, and if you have 10 softballs stuck somewhere all over your body, you're going to see those. Or so what if we could take those softballs and we could reduce those to golf ball size? So that's your fat cell. Your fat cell was a softball this big, and now we're going to take it to this big. And it's firm. Okay.
Yes.
It's not squishy and taking up fluff. That's what fat is. So we teach to feed the body to burn body fat. We're gonna do some resistance training and some strength training, because that is absolutely vital and necessary to help the metabolism burn body fat. We're going to also feed the body the proper nutrients so that we can boost the muscle mass. So we're building muscle mass, and we have to feed it. It's a 2-part series, and both of those things will expedite and turn on the fat burning process in your body, which is the metabolism. That's what we're after.
So let's talk about this resistance training, because, many women believe that cardio exercise is how they're losing that fat, right? And so what is resistance training, and what do these, beautiful, exercise bands have to do with that?
Yeah, I am a huge resistance training girl. It's my favorite thing to do. So let's say, Roxanne, if you would demonstrate, just put that band in both of your hands and just stretch it. I mean, it takes some strength to keep stretching. So let's say you do that 8 times. You're building some resistance, and you're creating long, beautiful, elongated muscle mass. After a while, you are fatiguing it, you're breaking it down, you're building it up. And that's the resistance part of it. It's long and lean.
And so, Sherry, you said something really interesting, that you're taking it to fatigue so that you can build it up.
Mm-hmm.
Because once upon a time, people would go to the gym and it would just be like, oh, I did 500, right?
Yeah.
But then we learned about resistance training.
Yep.
And when it's slow, right?
Long lean.
And you're holding it, right? It's actually ripping the muscles.
Yep. Tearing them down, breaking them down.
So that they can be rebuilt, which is why the protein is essential, because you can't rebuild it if you don't have the protein.
That's it.
So what are, what's 1 or 2 resistant exercises that women can do at home, like right in their kitchen, without any bands or tools or equipment, that they probably maybe have already known about, but they could incorporate into maybe making their meals?
So one of the things that you can lean against a wall with your palms against the wall and just slightly push against the wall. Now, I'm not saying you have to get on the floor and do a push up, but you're just pressing against the wall, pressing your body back, bringing it forward, pressing it back. So you're starting to work on this part of the body to strengthen the arm muscles. That's one way to start with some resistance training. Anytime you can add any pressure against something that you're working on, You can do body weight squats. Those are resistance training. Doesn't have to be deep. You can pretend you're trying to sit in a chair in a squatted position and then stand back up.
Yeah.
Some resistance as far as that goes. Pushing against the body.
So even countertop push-ups while you're waiting for your
Even countertop
to boil, right?
That's it. Right there in the kitchen. You can body weight squat it right there too. There's a lot of things we can do with just plain body weight. It doesn't have to be weights. I like the bands. I think there are so many different ways to use the bands. You feel them pretty quickly. You can do about a set of 8 until you start to feel the fatigue. Doesn't take long, and it's not terrible on your body, and it's not terrible on your joints.
So what does that feel like? So when, we're telling them, go until body fatigue or muscle fatigue, what are they going to start noticing?
So let's say I have a band around each of my forearms here, around my wrist.
Yeah. Pull
Pull apart and back together. Pull apart and back together. Apart. It only goes so far.
Yep.
So when you get to 8, you're going to be done. You won't be able to pull anymore. You're going to feel the muscles start to shake if you're first starting. That's to failure or fatigue. And day by day, those will start to increase the muscles in this part of our body. Feeling it already?
Well, it's part of my exercises, so I can do a lot of these ones.
Yeah.
So the band that I have, so they come in different sizes, and
Yep.
the colors are different weights.
They are.
Right? So it puts more resistance on the body.
It
The ones
does.
that I have from my physio are adjustable because I use these. Maybe it's around my ankles, so it needs to be smaller, or around
Right.
my legs, and I'm doing other exercises where I need more stretch. So mine are tieable to get a better one, but you can even go on Amazon right now and buy resistance bands.
Yep.
All that it does is add more pressure to that muscle so that that fatigue happens sooner, so that you're
Yep.
shredding the muscles so that they can be
Built back
rebuilt.
up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And not in a bulky way. So a lot of women, when we start talking about working out and stuff, they're like, oh yeah, but I don't want to look like,
I said I did. Long and lean. That's what we're after. Long, lean, beautiful muscles.
Yeah.
For
And
women.
so how can they, incorporate the movement? Exercise for many women has become like almost a PTSD word, right? There's just so much emotion around the actual exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the best ways that, our viewers and listeners can incorporate working out or moving their body on a daily basis to make sure that they're targeting their muscles?
So I use a set of bands called Synergy bands. I ordered them from Walmart. I think they're somewhere around maybe $12 to $19, depending on if they're in stock or not. And Synergy comes with a small case. Your bands are in this plastic zip tie bag, and there's a booklet or a handout that come with the bands. They're all kind of YouTube videos that teach simple resistance band exercises. I find that that's the best place to go and look for exercises that you can complete within 15 minutes. And really, if you start at 15 minutes, your muscles are fatigued. By the time you take your body through 3 or 4 arm exercises, 3 or 4 leg exercises, and you're repeating that 2 to 3 times in a series, that's all your body can handle to start with, because it's fatigued. You'll know it's fatigued because the muscles will shake. Your body is telling you, I'm working. It's working for you. It's time to stop, let it recover, and then you'll start again.
Yeah, and you'll know that, and bodybuilders talk about this. When they hit that resistance,
Mm-hmm.
they can't. It doesn't matter what you do. There is no possible way that your body can lift that or
Nope.
move that. You're just done.
You're done. You're
That
to
is
failure. They call
Yeah.
it failure.
And that's what you're looking for, because you
Mhm.
have to shred the muscle for it to be rebuilt. That's going to burn that metabolism. And so one of the things we want to look at, and sorry for the grossness here, guys, But, we want to deal with this. So
Mhm.
I've actually lost a lot of inches off of my arms, right? So working on, toning this up now. But the bat wing situation, what can women do to target, those areas that are of a greater concern?
So this is what I think about, and for women, that's a big issue for a lot of women. Is this particular area in the body. I'm going to recommend weight on that versus resistance, because you have to specifically target this particular part. So I might have a hand weight just like this. It's
Or
pretty
you can also
painful.
do that band too. Bring
You
it
can
back.
do the band. You can stretch it just like this and pull from here. But I like to add weight to this
Okay.
part of the body. And it might only be 5 pounds to start with, and it can be overhead and it can be both of them, just like this. But
Is that with the medicine ball too?
You
when
can
you're
do it with a
picking that up?
medicine ball. You can do it with the slam ball above your
Okay.
head, that right there. You'll feel
Nice.
that. Do that 10 or 12 times, and you're going to feel it right here in this area of the body.
Now we created that VIP fitness and Sherry teaches us little tips and tricks with bands and different stuff like that. But the Numi Fit has resistance, half hour worth, your whole body, your arms, your legs, whatever program that you do have, which I definitely love that. That is huge. And then also your adrenal fatigue. When you were down with your adrenals,
Yep.
how did you recover with that? How did you come out of it? What was your solution?
One of my biggest solutions, I did 20. I wasn't at muscle fatigue, but wanted to get some of these comments up. I have a crazily huge upper body strength. So swimming is great as well. But yeah, it's about proper diet, right? So making sure you're balancing your blood sugars, stopping when your body actually says no. When you hit that brick wall, you're done. Adrenal fatigue, you have to be in bed by 9 o'clock, period. End of the story. I don't even want to hear but 9:30, but 10, but 10:30. No, you actually have to have the sleep before midnight to recover. That's the restorative sleep. That's how your body is going to start with the healing process. I always use a glandular. I do not find that adaptogenics are really worth it, because there's too much involved and people are not doing the diet. They're not doing the exercise. You really need to support every area of your life. So we might do a whole episode on adrenals, because it really is just a huge issue for women. Your medical system doesn't talk about it. For some reason, it's the only gland that doesn't have a high and a low function, unless, of course, you've got Cushing's syndrome or something like that. When you're in adrenal fatigue, it's a lot. You feel like you're walking around with your brain detached from your body all the time. And so we need that quick reset, but it does take a lot of work. This is not a 1 month fix. This is not a 3 month fix. This is a lifestyle fix. And you have to learn to adjust and incorporate incorporate the lifestyle. And Juliet is correct in saying, that overexertion of the exercise is just going to slaughter you if you've got adrenal fatigue. It really doesn't work. And Cindy's sharing, she couldn't even walk up 2 steps. And it's just true. So we want to catch it as quickly as possible. The medical system will just say, well, you're burnt out. Here, take a year off work and do nothing. That will never recover your adrenals. It will never recover your adrenals. So I really value the show. And Sherry, we're going to have you on again, because we have lots more to discuss. I have a huge page of notes. So, we've got through a fraction of that, but, a very robust conversation. Women need this information. And one of the things that you saw me grab the medicine ball, and that's only because I learned from Sherry this ball slam thing, and I call it smash ball, because it's very therapeutic for me. Sherry was like, I hate this exercise, but I do it because it's so good for me. And, I thought I'm going to give this little exercise a try. We'll see if
I did it for the first time today, just now before I came on.
Well, really, I mean, if you have this ball here and you just like chuck it at the ground, you just keep doing it and picking it up, ladies, until you get that muscle.
Get your heart rate racing and all, man.
It puts your heart rate up. My husband thought our whole house was falling down, and I did it the other night. But I don't know whether it's because I'm just strong or like what, or frustrated. But man, my first go around, I did like 36 in a minute. And I was like, this is like a power exercise for me. So hopefully it'll help with my bat wing arms as well.
Yeah.
It does. It gets the heart rate pumping though, man. I had to take some extra glutathione to recover because otherwise I know I was going to be sore because, man, that's big time.
That's big time. That's big time. So we want to encourage you. Let your love story start today, everyone. Right? Work out because you love yourself, not because you hate yourself.
Yep.
Right? And when you love yourself, you're going to see the release of all kinds of stuff. We want to have Sherry back and get into that, right? Get the mental emotional side of things and the spiritual side of things. It's really crucially important. So we always love to end our episodes with a prayer. So Father, we just thank you for this amazing day. Lord, I thank you for Sherry and for her wisdom. I thank you for every woman that's been on this call and that will be on this call, Lord, that you would inspire them to love themselves more, to develop a healthy lifestyle where they can truly, feel good about themselves and the skin that they're in, and not because it's a weight, but because they've got those lean, beautiful muscles, those sleek muscles that help them feel good, feel full of energy and vitality. Encourage each woman to assess their lifestyle and make those necessary changes. And we just give you all of the glory in that. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and have a beautiful day.
Thank you.